All right, guys. So here's the next video. Commentary, commentary, commentary. Commentary sounds like the word comment, right? Comment what? Comment. Commentary means the same thing as analysis or explanation. We know the purpose of an analysis is to analyze the information that we have. We're going to look at it, break it down, and we're going to see how it connects, right? All right, so this is the part of the essay where you analyze or comment on your evidence that you've provided to the reader. Remember, as I just said, we're analyzing this when we are pulling apart the components. We're pulling apart the elements that we see. We're pulling apart your evidence to investigate how and why it connects. How do they work off of each other? How do they influence each other? That is what we will be doing when we're analyzing our quotations. So there's a difference between commentary and plot summary. Again, plot summary, as you see over here, plot is simply the events that happen in the story. Exposition, as you know, these are the events that happen in the beginning of the story. Is where we're introduced to the character. Is where we find out information about the setting, the conflicts that happen. And then we have a series of events, the rising actions. These are events that lead up to the climax. And as we know, the climax is the greatest feeling, it's the greatest point of suspense, it's the greatest point of action in the text. I like to say the climax is when we're receiving the answer to the questions that we had in the exposition and in the rising action. The following action, of course, is all the events, it's the things that happen after the climax. And then the resolution is how the story is resolved. It's all the events that lead up to the resolving of the problem. Again, plot. These are events that make up a fictional story. So if you're going through and you're telling me first this happened, then this happened, after that this happened, you're giving me a summary of the plot. I don't want that. What I want is for you to not retell the story, but I want you to give me information. You're explaining the evidence that you have. Do not retell the story. Do not retell the story because that is, again, plot, a plot summary. What I want you to do, of course, is to look at the quotations. Now, here's an example of what a lot of you all have done when you answer your questions. First, this happened, as shown in this quote. Then that happened. See, anytime we're talking about something that's happening, those are events. We don't want to focus on that. So, what should you focus on? Remember, commentary is explaining, and that's what I want you to do. I want you to explain to me. Tell me how this evidence backs up your claim. How does it prove that you're right? What you're going to do is explain. You're going to discuss. You're going to tell me the importance of your quotes, of your evidence. How does this prove your thesis? And then you're going to support it with your opinion, which is your thesis statement. And then you're going to elaborate on your thesis statement. You're going to make it more specific. Again, we're focusing on proving that you're right. Okay? All right. One of the ways that we do that, we use what the text say, mean, matter. Now, you guys should be familiar with uh, the sentence starter, this shows, right? Of course you are. You used it last year. So we're going to take that and we're going to add it to what we know this year, the mean and the matter. So after your quotation, just simply begin with those words. This shows, or this means that, or this matters because. And then I want you to finish your sentence. What does it show? What does it mean? What does it matter? Or you could do, what does it show? What does it matter? Or what does it mean? What does it matter? Okay? We're going to continue. When you're doing that, I want you to think and answer, what does this quote show? What are the relationships? How do they connect? Remember, your commentary is your thoughts. I want you to think and answer. So, of course, you will pause and write all of these questions down, right? Um, why does this quotation matter? How does it prove the evidence? How does it prove evidence that the theme is correct and true? How does it prove that you're right? And then you're always going to go back to your thesis, your theme. You must provide two commentary sentences for each quote. And after you've finished, what I want you to do is go back through and you're going to remove this shows, this means, this matter. And you're going to leave the rest of your sentence. If you do that, then you will have a good, strong, um, higher level sentence. Let's talk about literary techniques right quick and literary elements. Of course, we went over this last week in class. You know that elements are the components of a story. They are the things that we need to have a story. You know that literary devices and literary techniques are the things that we use to help create this story. So, if we want to use the literary elements and techniques, if we're analyzing those, and this is another way that you could provide commentary. The first way is what we just talked about. You can use what the text shows. What does the quotation mean? What does it matter? That's another way. Literary elements, literary techniques. This is your second way of providing commentary. So, step one, you have to know what the techniques and the elements are. You have to be able to recognize them. You have to understand how they function in the story as a whole. They're like little pieces of the puzzle, okay? And all of these puzzle pieces work together to create a story. Literary elements, they are the ingredients in every single story. We're talking about literary elements. Every story has a plot. Every story has characters. Every story has a conflict. Every story have a point of view. Every story have a theme, a setting. Every story has these. So these are elements that you can use to analyze your story. You can analyze your theme through the plot. How does the plot prove that you're right? How does the characterization of the characters prove your message, prove your theme, prove that you're correct? How does the theme tie in with all of this, the point of view? Okay. Literary devices and techniques are what the author uses to change how the elements are presented in the text. For example, the author uses figurative language to give us more information about the setting. They give us vivid details. They give us similes and metaphors and analogies to give us information about our characters or the conflicts or the effects that our characters have on each other. Okay? So these are just a few literary techniques and devices that the author uses. Okay? And if you're not familiar with the literary elements or techniques, there are things that you can go to on Google. I have provided things for you in Google Classroom. So let's continue talking about this literary element technique. The LET is what I like to call it. The methods for writing commentary. If we use the LET, you will begin using literary elements and techniques to write commentary. Now, what I've put in purple are three that you can use because these are seen in every single short story. If you're not sure what to use, look at the characterization, look at the tone, Look at the diction. It doesn't matter what you are analyzing. Every piece of literature has a character. If it doesn't have a character that's in the text, guess what? A narrator or a speaker is uh, similar or synonymous to a character. It has the words, it uses words, diction, and then it carries a tone. All of the words carry tones. We can look at the connotations, we can look at the denotations, we can look at the euphemisms of these words. Um, and the tone, we can look to see if this tone is negative. Is it neutral? Is it positive? Remember, every piece of writing has tone. All right, so here are some common questions to ask. I just want you to take a minute. You're going to jot these down. The words that you don't know, you're going to look these up, okay? So just pause the video right here, get the writing, and as you go through these questions, I want you to start thinking about your essay now and if you can use these questions to help provide you with um, additional thoughts or additional commentary about your quotations that you've pulled out. All right, so then you got to make sure that your commentary isn't random, okay? Always use keywords from the topic of your sentence. You got to connect everything back to your topic sentence for that paragraph in your thesis statement. Here are the do's and don'ts, okay? So, provide explanations of your evidence. Tell me what it means. Tell me what it matters. Tell me what it shows. You cannot just drop in uh, a quotation without any explanation. Again, you must have two pieces of commentary for each quote. You cannot write one sentence of commentary or none at all. Analyze the quotation, explain it, go beyond what's obvious. Think deep, show how brilliant and bright you guys are. Do not restate what's already there. Do not tell me what the quotation is already saying. Okay? Stay focused on your quotation. Focus on the literature. Focus on the quote. Do not digress or deviate from the text. Again, here, stay focused on explaining the quotation that you have selected and only that quotation that you've selected. Do not explain or summarize other parts of the text that are not connected or shown in your piece of evidence. Remember this, that every time you express an opinion in the form of an explanation or an analysis, you must prove it. Show me where you got it from. Show me how this idea popped in your head. What connections did you make to other pieces in the text? And if your quotation does not show what you want it to show, you need to find another piece of quotation. If your quotation does not connect to your theme, to your thesis, to your topic sentence. Try again, okay? Again, you're going to use commentary. Remember, commentary is your thoughts, it's your idea that is focused on that quotation. You cannot use if and then statements. Why? We cannot prove it. And the whole purpose of this is you proving that you're right, okay? All right, guys. So that is it for tonight. Um, we're going to be wrapping it up, excuse me, tomorrow. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send them to me, remind, or come to class with your questions ready for me to answer. All right, sweeties. Have a great night.